Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yep, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, we always love doing this. And Mom, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine. Brandon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and we're doing something a little bit different today.
Yes, we are. We're going to try to tape on the same day that we watch something.
Yes, which is also the day that it releases, just a few hours afterwards.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about the Connors.
Yes, and so this is the seventh and final season premiere titled "It's Going to Be a Great Day," the 107th episode overall.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened on this episode. First of all, like Brandon said, it's the premiere episode for this season. Um, and a lot happened. Ben is back. We just find out that Ben opens a storefront for his hardware magazine. Darlene wants to spend more time with Ben because Ben is spending a lot of time with the magazine. Um, Becky is working on her thesis, and then Becky and Tyler are spending a lot of time with each other. Jackie wants Dan to sue the opioid manufacturer, and Jackie is thinking about joining the police force. And then Jackie discovers that Mark is hacking computers and making a lot of money. And then she also addresses that with him. And then we had two members of the cast that were not shown this week. Harris nor Beverly Rose were on this episode.
Well, I know a lot happened, but thank you, Mom, so much for letting us know of everything.
You're welcome, Brandon.
Yeah, and overall, as a whole, what did you think about this season premiere?
I thought it was very busy. There was just a lot of things happening today. And so it kind of makes me wonder how they plan to end.
Yeah, I think that is overall the big question. There are only 6 episodes for this final season, and that's not a lot of time to end this series. With its 7th season and the whole franchise as a whole.
You're right, Brandon. It is not a lot of time for them to wrap things up. We've got multiple storylines going on at this time. Um, and a lot of things need real closure. And with all these open endings at this point, it's hard to see how they're going to actually wrap up some of these themes and episodes.
Yeah, it really is difficult to figure that out. But I mean, even just diving into what we learned thus far, we have a lot of sort of new beginnings, so to speak, thus far this season with so many characters. But we're also at least seeing some continuance from the previous season, such as with Mark's hacking job.
Yes, yeah, I will give them credit. They are continuing quite a bit. I didn't realize that Ben had been gone so long. I think you and I talked about that, and so it was nice to see him back.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they at least acknowledged that he was gone because I did notice him sort of disappear, at some point within season 6, and so I wasn't. I know that they had established that he was going to like a hardware convention or something to pitch the magazine. I hadn't anticipated him to miss as many episodes as he did in season 6.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder what do they plan to do for his backstory? Are they leading us into something because he doesn't want to spend a lot of time with Darlene?
Yeah, and even I did a little bit of rewatching of some season 5 episodes earlier today, and one of the episodes, which episode I really enjoyed though, for all intents and purposes, with some of the scenes, had it where Ben was beginning to have that distance from Darlene, and I'm curious as to if this is continuing from that. I don't remember if the previous seasons have really dealt with the issue other than mention it, but I'm hoping this final season doesn't try to break up Ben and Darlene. I mean, we spent a whole 2.5 seasons trying to get them together.
Yeah, we spent a long time investing in Ben and Darlene, so I'm kind of hoping they do stay together.
And yeah, but like I said, but we have a lot of Jackie plot for this one episode, though, that seems to be setting up the season.
Yeah, we do. We have Jackie who wants to join the force, and then Jackie who is trying to go to the manufacturing company in regards to the drugs that Roseanne took.
Not only that, but she's also a driving force to sort of expose Mark's secret as well.
Yes, she is. She is. So it'll be interesting to see how long she keeps that secret. Knowing Jackie, she's not going to keep it for long.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to what this is setting up for, because one of my hopes for this season that we're gonna head into in a little bit, but one of my hopes is that we're able to get solid conclusions for each of these characters.
Yes, same here. And something that I forgot to mention was that Darlene actually received a promotion at work. So she is not on the line anymore, serving food.
Yeah, so she at least is now at least in somewhat of a management position, even of course not under the circumstances that she probably would have wanted, but at least
Yeah.
that is going back into that higher up direction for Darlene.
Yes, yes, it is. No, I was just going to ask you, how do you want this to end?
Yeah, that's definitely something I wanted for us to speak about as well. And so for me, there are a few things that I would love to see before the series ends. And so first of all, I would like to see that not only the legacy cast members of of Dan, Jackie, Becky, and Darlene get closure, but I want the children to get closure too, because the whole series has been with their development, and I'd hate for them to not get a proper closure to their story.
Yes, so I agree with that also, Brandon. I really hope that they allow Mark to actually go to college because I think it would be great to actually close the loop there so that he will, since that's something that his characters wanted to do. I kind of hope that they give Harris a nice storyline also. Um, I'm not quite sure what direction they'll go with Harris, but it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with her.
Yeah, I know last season, towards the end for Harris, they were saying of handing her over the land for a lunchbox, which I believe they did formalize, and then she wanted to get her own apartment that Darlene was going to co-sign on, and so I'm not sure if they're continuing with that storyline, but I think that would be a great full circle moment for the franchise. But I'd love to see some of it, and and it's not just a mention and done.
Yeah, same. I agree with you.
And yeah, but I'm actually a little bit curious as to what they're going to do with Tyler and Becky.
Yeah, um, that'll be interesting. I don't know how I feel about them as a couple per se, because to me they just kind of snuck up on each other, or they the way it was written, and so you know I'm not sure.
Yeah, but at the very least, if the series is going to commit to making them a couple, I would like to. I don't want the series to end with, oh look, well they're a couple now, off to venture out. I'd love to actually see some of them, as a couple together before the series concludes. So instead of it being like episode 6, we're sending them off or whatever, I would love to, to see them together. And Becky's currently writing her thesis, and I would love for her thesis to be submitted before the series concludes. Like maybe it can be like another graduation for her by the end of the series. I don't know.
Yeah, I just had a thought.
Okay, what's your thought?
All right, Brandon. Becky's writing her thesis, and I believe it's about. Is it about dependency? I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And so, what if they wrapped up the end with Becky actually talking about her family and dependency?
That's an interesting thought. That never had occurred to me.
Oh, cool. So glad I could help you out there, Brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be such a great way, and I feel like it'd be a little homage to the original series Roseanne that had ended with Roseanne in her book.
Yeah, it would. It would. So, huh. All right. Brandon, do you have any other thoughts for the final episodes?
Yeah, so something else I'd love to see is, while I don't unfortunately believe that we will be getting DJ and his family for these final episodes, is I would love at least an acknowledgement of them in some capacity or another, because they are a major part of the Connor family, and so I'd love to, in some way hear about, DJ and Mary and Gina, and how they're doing. I believe that they're overseas at in canon, and so I'd love for them to acknowledge them, whether it's like a postcard or a video chat with them. Some acknowledgement that they're doing all right.
Yeah, I think that'd be really great and be fitting for the show if they would be able to at least have that closing moment with DJ and his family.
Yeah, I really wish the series had been able to utilize them more, but yeah, at the very least, I think an acknowledgement of some kind will be the best next thing. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're getting a new theme song anytime soon.
I know I was disappointed that they didn't change the theme song for the last few episodes.
Yeah, I at the very least hope that they're going to do at least something for for the final episode. But I mean, I'm not keeping my hopes up. I know the last two seasons had changed it because there was a cast change, but I was hoping they were at least going to do something a little bit different for these final six.
Yep, the same here. Same here.
But yeah, but something that I was a little skeptical of is hearing about all the different guest casts that's coming in for the final season, just because we have a lot of cast members, regular ones as is, let alone guest cast. So hopefully the show will balance them out well, and that it doesn't take away from the stories of our main characters.
Yep, I hope not either.
But as one of my last thoughts, I did want to say that despite everything that we said about our somewhat hesitancy for these final six, I actually do feel a bit optimistic that they can pull this off.
Yeah, I think so too because they've kind of laid the groundwork with this one, with just basically letting us know all the storylines that they have, and hopefully they will just tie them all up at the end.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the biggest reason as to why I believe that they can pull this off is actually the season 5 finale, titled The Grad Finale, that I felt could have been an easy series finale.
Oh yes, that was really a great episode that they had.
Yeah, I feel like that episode really tied together all the sort of loose ends of the seasons that had come beforehand, and they were able to wrap everything up largely within a single episode. And so I'm hoping that that this series is able to utilize some of that structure in pacing out these final six and making this a worthwhile finale. But definitely end of an era for sure.
Yes, yes. I said, what are we going to do on our Wednesday nights, Brandon?
But yeah, I don't know. But nevertheless, I look forward to, like I said, continuing with this, and this does actually wrap up nicely with our month of revivals and sequels, and so of course, The Connors is a continuation of the revived series Roseanne. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Very appropriate. So we thank everybody for watching today.
Yes, we definitely do, and we look forward to chatting more about The Connors with you soon.
All right. See you next time, everybody.
And we'll see you there.
Bye bye.